Okay, I'm going to open a public meeting, a public hearing to go over some amendments, modifications to our zoning. It's been duly advertised in the paper to start at 7:15. We're going to go over some things that just briefly just go over a quick description that include in-law suites, tree services and landscape companies, electric vehicles, and car washes. And so at this point I will open up the floor to a public hearing. Do any recommendations? I know our zoning inspector's here, Ted and Scott are here from our zoning board, and the meeting is now duly opened.
I have no issues with the changes. I've been pushing for some of these changes for quite a while, so I will say this, the big one for me is the in-law suite requirements, which by doing this we allow in-law suites without a conditional use, but it defines how the structure has to be to satisfy those requirements, and I think this it beefs up our ability to enforce where we have issues where we have double kitchens, these types of things, where we open it up for potential duplexes down the road. Now, we do have some duplexes in the township that predate me as zoning inspector, but at the present time we don't allow duplexes at all. This, by beefing this up or putting some definitions in, it helps myself and the zoning, whoever the zoning people are in the future, to control better the partial situation of multifamily, duplexes, triplexes, and that stuff, because they're very hard, as you well know, to enforce after the fact. But by giving us this power, when an applicant comes to us, we can say, look, you can't have this, you must have this, the 50% wall, no cooking facility, internal egress, those types of things. That deters the possibility of a duplex, but it also allows for a mother-in-law suite or something like that, So I think that's to me that's a real strong one, Of course, the electric car situation, we all know that's being pushed, so we're just trying to be proactive and stay ahead of the game, and allow it with certain requirements and protection of it in our industrial and commercial, not in our residential per se, but in our industrial and commercial areas where, it would be open then to the public, whereas it's pretty hard to control it in the residential one. So, I just think that, we've talked about these, and then again, the car washes, we're allowing car washes, but we're not allowing an establishment where you or I can drive in and wash our own car. That we don't want that. We want if we're going to have a car wash, we want one where it's a business, it's controlled, it's operated, and then it meets EPA standards and so forth. So that's all I have.
I know there was a lot of discussion about that, but chances are pretty good until there's a central water supply and we're not
right.
gonna
Well,
get
that's a
much
big
of a
issue.
demand for car wash, so there's going to be time to look at it.
Yeah, the electric vehicles, that was definitely we wanted to get ahead of that, because it's coming, and it's coming a lot faster than anyone saw a few years back. So again, doing things in advance, it sets parameters for what we want, how we want them, and I think it was this whole change with everything in here is, doing it up front and getting it taken care of. I commend the commission for taking care of that and getting ahead of the game.
Any comments on the tree service and landscape?
Well, just tree services, we have some landscapers that here again predate. They've been here for a long time, but this gives us the tree service one, I think that's a good idea that we're gonna put that, if we're gonna allow it, we're gonna allow it in an industrial area where, it's less likely to be abutting a residential district or something like that, because they have chippers and chainsaws and so I just think it's a good place to put them,
Okay, I just want to clarify one thing here too, is, Scott, you guys passed this with these modifications, which are, now they appear to be handwritten in the text. I'll read, there's a change shall to may in N2B.
I'm not sure, what do you think, Ted? What do they have in front of them? I don't know.
Yeah,
I
so,
would think everything we have in front of us, they voted on, right?
I think you change that to may.
Yeah, we had Jane said she went kinda crazy with the shells for a while.
Yeah.
Well,
You're talking about the
shall
one
is mandatory,
Yeah,
may.
Yeah.
here.
Right,
Right.
right.
And,
Exactly.
Shall
when
be
you,
stored
I mean, I don't
inside
have any
the
problem with the
building,
vehicles,
may
but when
be
you
stored-
We
start
lined out this
getting like trailers and
phrase,
so forth
Yeah.
and forcing
so they
them
did
to
it
park
with
that inside.
modification.
But
Right.
maybe
Clear that
they have
up.
to park them in a designated area, screened and so forth, but, yeah, that's why I think that's changed from, because shall is mandatory, would mean everything would have to be inside, and I don't know if you wanna do that, but may, then we can control, by creating a parking area where they have to be put.
yeah, I think everything in here we've been through.
These were modified when you voted, okay.
Yeah. So are there any other comments from Scott or Ted at all concerning any of these four issues?
No, I mean, I think we've been over these pretty well, and I think we've talked through, and it's pretty much on the right track.
I know David Dietrich had planned to be here, but he's ill. I did talk to him before this afternoon, and he's in agreement with all these changes too. So. Any other comments from the board?
No.
Not at all? Any comments from the public? Diane?
Yes, Tom and I usually go to planning commission meetings, and we were in attendance at the last one where these issues were discussed, and I can tell you that they brought a great deal of discussion, not only from the other members of the planning commission, but also from the director. And Dennis Bragansky managed to be quiet the whole time it was being discussed, but really, at the end, it was a unanimous decision. The board was not, they expressed a number of objections to those three topics, particularly the mother-in-law suite, and they did express concern about difficulty for enforcing it, whatever that would mean. So, at least that was the discussion that was there. And it was a hearty discussion, a very, very ample, well-attended discussion. Everybody participated, truly. So we were a little surprised that no one from the zoning commission or the zoning inspector himself, we kind of expected one or both of you to be there, because that often happens when an amendment is being discussed.
Well, the only thing I can say is it's ironic that they denied it, but they made no They didn't-
recommendations.
They made no recommendations or no reason why they denied any part of it, and I find that kind of strange, because it just says, we recommend that we're denying it, but they have no reasons or anything, you know,
And there were no reasons on their letter.
no.
No,
and they-
and you would see that, the letter was read into the minutes.
Mhm.
And also, although Mr. Dietrich isn't here, I think his comments are probably in the record as well. He thought this was highly unprecedented, that they would reject out of hand. There was no comments, no recommendations for any changes, no criticism of what specific that they found fault with. And as we read through it, of course, Mr. Dietrich's pretty good at looking this stuff up, and the prosecutor's office looked this stuff over. We talked it over again, and prior to me getting on the board, these guys spent quite a bit of time on it. Mr. Kitco has quite a bit of input into all that with his experience over the years, and we're pretty satisfied when we voted that we put forth something that was worth your consideration. So, in spite of the fact that they might have had comments and had a great discussion about this, they weren't nice enough to provide any of that for our help.
I thought that was quite unusual too.
Right.
The letter that they had absolutely no comments.
Yeah, that I find very
Surprising to
unusual,
us
because
as
always
Well, we
before
all
they
kind
had.
of have our reasons why I think that was done.
I've seen enough of these, and I spent some time on commission as well, and kind of standard operating procedure had always been to recommend approval, but then sometimes if they really didn't like your amendment, they would send you a 3-page checklist with
Yeah,
specifics
that's
as to
true,
what to
in the
fix.
past. Yeah.
And this has absolutely none of that.
Yep.
Now verbally, what was most often discussed was the kitchen, facilities in the, quote, mother-in-law suite. And just, over and over again, it was discussed, just the potential difficulty.
Well,
Um,
here is, you're not, it prevents it, it nips it in the bud. Because, Diane, you bring me a print here, and you show 2 kitchens, I'm gonna deny it, because 2 kitchens aren't allowed. But if you sneak the second kitchen in down the road, that becomes, all we're trying to do is we're trying to prevent somebody from building a house, bringing their mother-in-law or father-in-law, somebody in, they pass away, now we rent it out to a different family. We're trying to, if we're gonna have that family's gonna have to have 50% of that adjoining wall is gonna have to be on the dwelling, and you're gonna have to go through the house to the house, no outside exit, you know, which deters, we're trying to deter duplexes, multifamily, is what we're trying to do. And, you know, the prosecutor said, this is a way, Mr. Dietrich felt this is a way to beef it up to how, when somebody initially brings in a proposed plan for a house, look, we're saying, okay, you can't, and the building department backs us up here. The building department, as soon as they see a second kitchen, they say, wait a minute, or the health department, wait a minute. And so we're all trying to work so we have something that's standard and unified that I can go by as a zoning inspector when a builder comes in with a print or a resident comes in and he wants to do an addition. Okay, you can do this, but this is some of the things that you have to take into consideration as to what you're trying to create down the road, so that, God forbid, you die, and, you know, and another family buys it and they want to rent it out to this family and that family. We're just trying to prevent that, that's all.
We're kind of acknowledging the need for
Right.
the occasional in-law suite with an aging parent. or
Right, we're
something.
trying to allow it,
Right.
but with some guidance or guidelines, instead of forcing people, that, like we have in the past, to go to the Board of Appeals to get a variance to do it. You know, which we've done, you know, many times, as people have come in and I've got, you know, requested a variance and gotten a variance to allow their mother-in-law or father-in-law to live there, but then again, it becomes tough down the road if we don't have some guidelines as to how it is built and structured to help prevent what happens down the road. This, you know, I don't think it's gonna be real desirable if you have to go through my house to get to your house, you understand? So that's why we have the 50% of that wall has to be adjoined, has to have an egress, you can't have a separate garage, the garage all has to be inclusive. So these are that's all we're trying to do, you know, and, you know, in here again, yes, it's still gonna be hard to enforce, but it gives us something initially to start when an
That we didn't
applicant
have
applies
before.
for.
Had a representative from the zoning commission, or Mr. Dietrich, or you, had you been there for that meeting and perhaps been able to address the concerns that were expressed, might it have made a difference overall?
It might have, I don't know, I mean, nor, I don't know, I have never, except on one occasion when I was asked to, attended a planning commission meeting, because I don't write the zoning, I just enforce it. The commission writes it, so maybe somebody from the commission, but I don't think, to my knowledge, nobody's ever been requested to come before. You know, now I know there's new leadership, relatively new leadership on the planning commission with the new director and everything, but there's always been tremendous communication in prior years as to, in other words, my feeling was if there was so many issues here, why wasn't, hey, why are we doing this? You know, why, you know, from the planning commission back to us, asking. But I just find it kind of strange, Diane, that there are no comments. They just flat out denied it with no reason, no recommendation. There's I mean, I've been doing this a long time, as you know, and if they took issues, there was always recommendations
Right,
before.
well, that surprises us as well, because there was, I mean, that particular segment of the meeting, probably, how long do you figure that took when we were there? About an hour, maybe even more. The whole meeting was maybe an hour and a half.
Right.
And really, the Auburn stuff was the majority of it. Did anybody from the planning commission notify you that it was gonna be under discussion? That meeting, which would have been, what, that Wednesday, the 8th, I think?
I mean, not formally, I think I probably heard about it happening.
Yeah.
Diane, you might want to address some of your issues with the planning commission. They're the ones that made this decision and did not provide any.
That's true.
And so, I don't know, we can't really speak for what they were thinking or why they did it, but we didn't really feel obligated to go up there. Dennis Bergansky, who's on this commission, is
Right.
part of that board.
Right.
So we felt we did have some
Yeah.
representation there,
Yeah.
and certainly someone that could answer any questions.
Now, I believe he abstained
He
on
did.
voting.
Oh, sure he did, yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
he explained afterwards that it was some of the hardest experiences of his life, keeping his mouth shut.
He has a lot of those.
Which, you know, which is
Well,
pretty
yeah,
accurate, I
He
think.
usually has lots
He has a
of
lot of
different things.
Yeah,
And the other thing, and this I think is a technicality, but maybe if I think it's correct, they vote to recommend denial or passage. They don't vote to deny. All right?
I think you're right there on that.
Yeah.
So I think
Votes
that's.
are in the affirmative, so.
Well,
yeah.
but that's just to recommend what the commission does. They have no right to deny an amendment coming from the township.
No,
They
right,
can give a recommendation back
Right.
to the township.
right,
right.
Well, that's
Correct.
not worded correctly there either.
right. Well, you know, like I said, you know, it's,
Please be advised that the county planning commission, since we're talking about it now, please be advised that the Geauga County Planning Commission in its meeting held on March 8th, 2022, voted to deny the proposed Auburn Township zoning amendment. That's not their place. They
they're
vote to
right,
recommend.
you're absolutely right, they don't have the right,
Yeah,
they don't have the right to deny. And let me ask a question now. Was this amendment sent to them for informal review
I believe so.
by the commission?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Quite a while ago.
Because,
Yeah.
Quite a while
because
ago.
Yeah.
there's where, you know, in my way of thinking, if there was real issues and it was sent to them for informal review, what happened to the response to the informal review? Was there one?
I think there was some teeth pulled in there as well.
So we used to get that under the old regime.
Right. So I, you know, here again, like I said, I
You
don't know.
didn't say that, did he?
I mean, it's up to you guys,
Right.
here's where you guys, you can end your public hearing and go into trustees and vote
Right,
on this amendment tonight, or you can
right.
We got 20
recess
days.
it and
We got 20 days.
and request some information, you know,
Yeah, we
back
got
in.
20 days from the close of the
Right.
public hearing.
Correct, so, you know, I mean, I just find it kind of strange that there's, you know, no recommendations.
So, I have extreme faith in our zoning board and David Diedrich, and I'll just leave it at that. Are there any other comments on any of the other topics? If not, anybody else on the board? No? Then I'm gonna close this public hearing.
Well, you make a motion.
Make a motion to close the hearing, please,
I'll second
so I
it.
don't wanna get sued.
Okay. Mike,
Yes.
EJ,
Yes.
Gene?
Yes. And now, let's just take 5 minutes and we'll start our regular meeting.